important problem, and that is PCOS, and we all know it is an epidemic now. So, yeah. So we are talking about the approaches, that is the diet and lifestyle changes in PCOS, which is so important, and it is the basis of this problem, which has originated and multiplied in the last 2 decades like anything. So it has taken a turn from feminism to hyperandrogenism, and Dr. Shalini has very beautifully highlighted the myths. So the definition has been entirely covered in that. And we need to treat this and work in time. We say prevention is better than cure, and this lifestyle disease has to be taken care in the beginning so that we do not end up in non-communicable diseases, which is a huge burden for women. So depending upon which feature is predominating, whether it is menstrual irregularity, hyperandrogenism, or hyperandrogenism, and different type of polycystic morphology. There are different phenotypes. It can be there in the lean or the obese PCOS. Obese PCOS largely predominate, and the lean PCOS are resistant to treatment. So we have to undo the self harm and reverse the clock by addressing the basic cause. And what is the root cause? It is the change in the lifestyle which has happened, and PCOS has increased because of lifestyle environment changes, neuroendocrine changes, obesity, and change in the genetics. That is the transgenerational change. PCOS women giving birth to small size baby, and which again leading to, according to Barker's hypothesis, an unhealthy lifestyle going down the generations. According to Barre et al., it is the high consumption of carbohydrates, hyperinsulinemia, hyperandrogenemia, and persistent low-grade inflammation, four key contributors which lead to PCOS. So they have to be addressed. Diet, of course, address the gut dysbiosis also, and environmental toxins have to be taken care at various levels. So before we ask a patient that you change diet, you change lifestyle, the girl has to be counseled thoroughly about how it has brought this PCOS, how we can reverse it, and she has to be motivated with a positive attitude. We are the one to give her psychological support and build up confidence in her. It will not come like this. We have to give her incentive. We have to see her the reversal of changes which are happening and showing them the health implications. They probably understand it better. Most important is to tell the time period, because it will not happen over a period of week or month. It may take years also. So we have to be telling them that perseverance is the key. Now, this new fashion of eating big burgers and junk food, it has to be reversed. And how we can reverse it by understanding that these are endocrine disruptors. It contains BPA and many other harmful elements. These are xenoestrogens which increase the level of testosterone, which can lead to imprinting disorders by affecting the regulatory genes. And these are obesogenic and they disrupt the normal metabolic activity. So if we make them understand that it can lead to a lot of problem, then only they will follow the healthy lifestyle. So these EDCs, they affect with every system of the body, namely endocrine, reproductive, neurological, immune system, and have adverse developmental effect. So what has to be eaten? It has to be, we have to resort back to the normal physiological way of living. And the weight loss is the first parameter. As Dr. Sharda Jain also said, the 50% treatment is weight loss, which will reverse the whole metabolic scenario. Even 5 to 10% of the weight loss, patient will the girl will start ovulating in 10% of them will start ovulating. The diet has to be hypocaloric, 1200 kilocalories, high fiber, high protein, and low carb. It's the 150 minutes of moderate physical activity and 70 minutes of strenuous physical activity. And muscle training is important. It's not only the girl, even the menopausal or perimenopausal females will also may have PCOS. So muscle training is an important component. So low calorie diet should compose of high protein, low and complex carbohydrate, and only moderate fat. This is type of sample diet pattern. If one has to lose weight, it should be minus 1000 calories of one with is previously taking and 500 for maintenance. What we call the treatment is medical nutrition therapy. It is like whole cereal based or oat based cereals like porridge, muesli, whole grain bread. We have to forget the whites and combine carb with protein or fat. Only carb should not be taken. Low GI grain in every meal, and especially the millets, which are the fashion in the new generation, cooked in a different way, is very attractive. So, and they we have to advise them to we have to suggest them to make a plate which is, full of half the vegetables and half the other things like carb, protein, and fat, whatever. The half has to be vegetable and salad vegetables. And ketosis, of course, has to be avoided. At least 1200 calories is a must. So, in put in nutshell, it should be yogic and sattvic diet. The butter on bread should be replaced by avocado, tahini, or nut spreads. Use olive or canola oil in cooking, or and flaxseed and olive oil in dressing. 8 to 10 cups, or we say 2 liter of liquids in a day, which should be low calorie. And high saturated and trans fats like fatty red meat, whole milk, dairy, butter, and margarine, chicken, skin, fried foods, desserts, they have to be avoided. Mainly mono unsaturated fat and omega-3 fatty acids, like they should be used. And salt in cooking, that can be decreased by using more of herbs and other spices. Day meal plan should be multiple meals, small, frequent meals, but do not skip meal. It should not be like all the time carb. There should be protein all the time in all the meals and snacks. The plate should be a mixed plate, as I already mentioned. Then there is a recommended diet for PCOS as per the newer international guidelines in 2023. The recommendation is to have high protein, moderate fat, and low carb. It should not be absent carb. The carb which trigger more hunger and cravings like pasta and all, that should be avoided. We know that inflammation has a lot of role, so it should be anti-inflammatory. Anti-inflammatory diet, and Indian diet is rich in this: whole grain, lentil, methi seed, flaxseed, honey, amla, carrot, cucumber, broccoli. They all should be used. The foods should be natural, unprocessed, high fiber, grapes, berries, broccoli, cauliflower, beans, lentil, other legumes, nuts, especially walnut and pistachio. Dark chocolates can be taken in moderation. Spices and turmeric and cinnamon. Cinnamon is also supposed to increase the metabolic rate. And hello, I'm audible, no?
Yes,
Yes,
carry on.
yes, very much.
So, as we know that ketogenic diet came with a great this thing in market, that it should be taken, and keto diet reduces weight like anything, but it is not the diet which is primarily meant to treat PCOS. It definitely improves the pathology, as we're talking about carb all the time. And there are certain pros and cons of this diet. It definitely improves insulin resistance, improves sex hormone balance, and improves body composition. But it is hard on gut, and it can be psychologically unhealthy, and it is difficult to follow in long term. And sometimes it can make PCOS worse also, as it is nutritionally imbalanced and deficient in minerals and vitamins, and it causes lot of gut dysbiosis. So, and it increases the LDL and HDL is not much affected. So the junk keto is not to be taken. Artificial sweeteners again have to be avoided. So keto diet has lot of side effects, and it definitely impacts the thyroid function also. It is typically emotionally and metabolically unhealthy, and once it is left again female is likely to gain weight. So the recommended diet is either a protein-based diet or Mediterranean diet, where the base vegetables, fruits, legumes, and seeds, spices, and herbs, as I told. And one has to take less often the things like which is starchy vegetables, and whole grain and should be the base, and meat and sweets are again at the top. They have to be taken in the minimum quantity. So, to look sweet and sim and more feminine, we have to avoid certain things. And if one wants to be fat, eat fat. So, to avoid, the list is sweetened beverages, high sugar foods, sweeteners, sweetened sauces, high fat foods, refined trans fats, and refined oil. So, these are the things to be avoided. So, this is as per International Guidelines 2023. It has said that there is no evidence to support one type of diet over the other type of diet for the anthropometric, metabolic, hormonal, reproductive, and psychological outcome. It should be the aim should be healthy eating and tailored to individual preferences. So we cannot give a prescribed format for everyone. It is one's own food choices. One has to tailor according to the individual. And all the barriers and facilitators to optimize engagement and adherence to diet, because if we say कि आप ये खाओ ये तो जरूरी है, sometimes the girls is staying in the house and they are not taking any kind of diet, or they are having their exam, so they end up eating junk food when they are awakened late night, coffee, junk food, so something. So there are certain barriers, we should discuss them and give the adequate replacement for that. And if someone is staying in family, the family should be engaged, especially the mother, because the mother will say, oh ये तो यही खाती है, मैं तो मानती नहीं, ये तो चिप्स लेती रहती है, तो ऑनलाइन ऑर्डर कर लेती है. So we have to engage the family in planning the diet, and it should be tailored according to their need, so that they do not feel that they are undergoing treatment all the time. They should enjoy their meal. So next comes yoga. There is a lot of role or pranayam, Kapalbhati, Anulom Vilom, Ujjayi, and Shavasana. So yoga empowers and it heals from inside. There are different yoga poses. These are the photographs I picked up from net. The cobbler pose, cobra, lotus, bridge pose, and leg up. The main thing is that the muscle training, intense muscle training, and power yoga, it definitely improves the PCOS, as there is it increases the sensitivity of the insulin receptors, and LH and insulin level that definitely decreases. There are different poses. Dr. Rajvi had once or twice and many times had told in her talks the role of yoga, how it restores the HPO axis function. So exercise definitely improves the insulin sensitivity, say to the tune of 71%. It reduces the central fat, fall in insulin level 33%, and reduction in LH, and hence restoration of the normal menstrual cycle. So with exercise, there is adequate utilization of glucose by the peripheral muscle cells, and it has to be persistent. It cannot like हफ्ते में 2 दिन की और फिर छोड़ दी. It has to be persistent activity. It has to be daily, only then it burns the calories. So the recommendations by ADA for exercise was 150 minutes moderate to high intensity, with 90 minutes being aerobic activity moderate to high. It should be distributed over a period of 5 days in a week, and sedentary activity like watching television and computer should be reduced as much as possible. When possible, walk. If you are walking, then do brisk walk. If you are doing brisk walk, try to run. So it has to be gradually increased. One cannot start thinking of running from the very first day and then say, oh, I can't do it. 30 minutes walking 3 to 7 times per week for 6 months, that will only reverse the insulin resistance. It is not that doing 10 days, 20 days, we will be seeing the results. It takes time. So the exercise intervention, the international recommendation from 2023 guidelines is that there is lack of evidence to support that one type or intensity of exercise is better than other for anthropometric, metabolic, hormonal, reproductive, or psychological outcomes. It is important that one or the other form exercise should be done, but it should be sustained. Again, depending upon sustained physical activity, depending upon individual preferences and goals. So some activity is better. So if the girl is absolutely sedentary, ask her to start at least. Once she starts, then you ask her to maintain, then increase. So like that. So when she's watching screen, that time also you can tell her to do, pick up a dumbbells, keep watching the screen and still do. That time she may do even more. So for prevention of weight gain and maintenance of health in the adult 18 to 64 years, the recommendations are 150 to 300 minutes of moderate intensity activity, or 75 to 150 minutes of vigorous aerobic activity per week, or equivalent of both, or spread throughout the week. That is it. And for health benefits, one should, and just maintaining it, it is little less, 250 minutes a week of moderate activity and 150 minutes of vigorous activity over 5 days. Adolescents should aim for at least 60 minutes of moderate to vigorous activity per day, and physical activity is any bodily movement. So somebody can do household chores, play games, sports, exercise, walk, cycle, dance, zumba, run, anything, but it should be done. Aerobic activity can be split 10 minutes 3 times, and we should be like, adherence should be emphasized because it takes time for the results to come. So self monitoring, including with fitness tracking devices and technology, help for step count, exercise intensity. It should be considered as an adjunct to support and promote active lifestyle and minimize sedentary behavior, because self check and then making groups help them encourage do more and more. So the natural forces are within us as true healers, and we have to inculcate in them the attitude of that yes, they can. So PCO is can be reversed with the plan for life through a change in diet, yoga, start exercising, relaxation, and being non-sedentary. So perseverance is the key, as I said, and lifestyle modification has to be continued all through life. Thank you so much.